Well, something a little bit different today. Now, as you can see, the Chateau's way behind me there. I'm walking down towards the old entrance. Now, a few months ago, there was a really bad accident there. It was driver, middle of the night, didn't see the slow down signs, went into our pillars at 70 mile an hour. And not only once, we've had it happen twice now. Now, not just here, we've seen it happen at the Chateau down the road as well, and we were devastated for them, and obviously it's happened to us now as well. So what it's meant is we can't use the gate, we can't open the gate. It's pushed all the metal frame to one side, so it's rendered this completely unusable. Now, we've been dealing with it in the background, trying to get everything sorted, trying to get everything placed so that we can get it done. It is a huge job. It's a massive job, and it's a dangerous job as well, because the pillars at the top, they're a few ton. Just the single pieces of stone are a few ton each, so it's going to be specialist equipment, specialists that are going to need to come in and do it. It's not a job that we can do ourselves with this one, because it is extremely dangerous in the fact that the metal could go over on us, the fact that the pillars could just crumble. We don't know how bad the state is until we actually get it all down. We'll have to take it down piece by piece. So that's what we're going to be on with. Like I say, we're excited to get it sorted again. We've had this for a few months now, and we've wanted to be able to come down and get it, just be able to use the drive again and go out of it this way, and we've not been able to do it. So we've got some friends coming over. They're the ones that have been employed to do this job for us, and hopefully they're going to do an amazing job. Might have snapped me well. There's no holes in the middle. I know. I don't know where they got from. They must have fixed that. look at the size of this. Now, we knew it was big, but when it's 12 foot in the air, you don't realise like how big these things actually are. And when you see the straps struggle, now they were 3-ton straps each, and there was 3 of them round it, and they struggled on this. So this is a massive chunk of granite, but not only is it a massive chunk, it's a beautiful piece. And again, we're half a mile away from the chateau, and the attention to detail and the work that's gone into actually creating this piece, not only creating the piece, but then actually getting it up there as well. Now, we do this with modern equipment and tools and machinery. Back in the day, 300 years ago, they didn't have any of that. They'll have had winches and cranes, but could you imagine the manpower it would have actually took to winch that and get that up into place and have it sitting perfectly? And like I said, 300 years later, someone's coming along, knocked it out of place. So now the work starts. We'll start getting the rest of the stones down. Luckily, some of the pieces are smaller, because where they've had to actually embed the metal into the gates, they've split the actual stones themselves so they can embed the metal properly into the actual granite, so it stays. And again, there's the metal down there, it's a couple of ton. It's not a little bit of metal, it's a good few ton. So we've had to make sure that we do this safely and properly all the way down. So let's crack on with the rest of them.
Like to drill underneath, they drill through here, and then it might release. But because it's concrete. Yeah. Yeah. You okay? Yeah. That's great, that's good.
Well, that's them down. Wasn't too difficult, wasn't too bad. So they say that we've got it done in a day. Laura and Brian have worked all day long to get it all sorted. But look at the difference, and you do actually get this, like the scale of how big these are now. Especially when you sat on this side and you sat looking up at the other side to see how big these actually are. They are grand and imposing. So it is important that we get these put back together again. And we've had discussions in the long term as well. It's likely that the other pillar is going to have to be done at some point, but that'll be on our time, then we'll get it all sorted. So next stage is going to be some of the blocks, because the car hit from this direction at 70 mile an hour and it's chipped a couple of where it's actually hit the actual corner. It's chipped away the corner of the actual stone. So there's a couple of stones that need to be repaired. It sounds silly, it had only gone over about 10 centimetres, but it had pushed all of this 10 centimetres, and that was a massive amount. So next job's going to be repairing the stones and getting it all put back up again. Well, on with more wiring for this downstairs section. We've got pretty much most of it done in the dining room, but we still need to get the last little bits done in that cupboard, which is going to be now our china cupboard rather than the toilet, which everyone will be happy to know. But the reason why we're doing all of this and changing it all is the old wiring. One, it's unbelievably dangerous keeping it in. So while we're doing all this work, if we were to knock any of the wiring, because it's so brittle, you can see it just snaps. So then that exposes the actual wire inside, and then this is how so many fires get caused in chateaus and stuff like that. And another reason is the trunking that they use is actually metal trunking. So when the wire is actually moving ever so slightly, it sort of snags on the end of the metal trunking and obviously starts wearing it away back down to the wire, and then obviously goes straight onto the actual main wire, and then again causes a fire. So all of this is getting took out. We're not using a single piece of this, just for safety, and using obviously all brand new wire. So we're using 150 gauge for all of the lighting, and then 250 for all of the plugs, because we haven't got any high power stuff in here anyway, which is good. So we need to crack on with this, and
then we need to pop to the DIY store, get all the insulation for in here, get all of the plasterboard ready, and then we can crack on in the billiard room and get the rest of that sorted. So we better crack on and get the rest of this out. So that's all of the plasterboard and insulation in. Now, you might have seen in all of the other rooms that we've done throughout the chateau, we've been using this insulated plasterboard. Now, there's two reasons why we're actually using it. One, because we've taken all the old lath and plaster down, obviously there was quite a big difference from where the covens finished to where the actual beams are. Now, putting this on, it allows us to obviously bring the ceiling back down to the height that it originally was. And then the other reason is because it's given us an added layer of soundproofing and insulation as well. Just having this 20mm polystyrene insulation on the bottom, it just helps with it. And to be honest, another reason is any of the dips in the beams or anything, it just helps sort of smooth that out because we can sort of pull it in and lower it down with that. So we've got two different sizes. One of them is the 20mm and then the 10mm plasterboard. And then we've got another one, which is 40mm with 10mm. Now, the reason we've got that one is we're going to try and create our own coffered ceiling in the billiard room. So we're going to see how that goes. And we'll plan on using this just to drop it down a little bit more. And then we can create these sort of like box panel areas inside it. So that's all to come. And then we can go from there. So I better crack on and get the last bit sorted in the billiard room.
busy everywhere right now, from down at the gate with Laura and Bri, getting all that sorted, which is again a huge amount of work. So that's in the process of getting done. A few more days and hopefully we'll start seeing the gates starting to go back up again, and hopefully pull all the metal work out. We'll have working gates again, which will be absolutely brilliant. And lots of you want to know, was the driver okay? Yes, the driver was fine. He left the car at the scene, so he was absolutely fine. He wasn't injured, no problems there. Miraculously, the car wasn't fine, but he was. Terry and Tracy in here getting all this sorted, getting the roofs down, getting everything prepped so we can run all the electrics. But it might not seem much, but it's a massive step forward for us. It's huge because it means that we can start putting the ceilings back up and the rooms can start to come together again. Luckily down here the panelling doesn't need a massive amount of work like it has done on the second floor because it was so badly damaged. This has remained pretty much intact, so it's just touching up and then getting it waxed with the gill boys again, which will really make it start to shine. But it is that final steps that we're starting to get there with it. You can see that it's coming together, and we know that in a couple of months time we'll have ceilings back up, they'll all be insulated, we'll have electrics on the first floor, so it is a really big important step for us. And I've been peeling the render off Tracy's walls. Now the render it's the original render, it's never been done since it was actually put on, so it's needed to be done. When we first got here, the guttering had failed on that side as well, so it was a case of having to take every bit of it off. There was none of it could be saved, it all needed to be removed, and then we'll jet wash all the excess out and we'll get the new render on. It'll be looking amazing, and it is an important bit because it's the first thing you see when you actually drive up the drive to the Chateau. So loads of work going on. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. There's been loads happening, so if you have, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you got the bell click for notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
If you'd like to be part of our journey and help restore the Chateau, then please join us on Patreon, where you'll be part of our journey, receive a piece of the history and get exclusive videos.